This is Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. From the corporate office to the cab of a truck, they're here to inspire and empower women in all professions. So gear down, sit back, and enjoy.
Welcome. We're an award-winning show dedicated to empowering women in every profession through inspiring stories and expert insights. No topics off limits on our show. We power women on the road to success with expert and celebrity interviews and information you need. I'm Shelley.
And this is Kathy.
Everybody wants to be healthy and youthful and continue to do what they always have without the aches and pains that seem to come along through the years. Too often, people aren't able to move around the way they used to when they get older. That impacts quality of life. International flexibility guru and martial artist Stacey Nemour shows people how to take their power back. She says flexibility is the key to longevity and is what truly determines how healthy and youthful we are. Sitting all day is very bad, and poor posture is a modern-day epidemic. For over 30 years, Stacey has custom-designed flexibility, injury prevention, and recovery programs for top Olympians, established actors, UFC champions, figure skaters, pro athletes, gymnasts, and Cirque Du Soleil performers. Stacey's been featured on Fox Sports, The Sky Channel, Kung Fu Magazine, Power Rangers, Lake Arrowhead Magazine, and many other publications. She has online masterclasses in flexibility makeovers. Stacey's been on our show before, and we were wowed by her then and can't wait to share her knowledge again with our listeners. Welcome back, Stacey.
Hi, Stacey. I'm laughing already. I just feel the love of you two. You guys are the best.
Well, thank you.
To be here.
Oh gosh, Stacey, you are a wealth of knowledge, and what you do, like I said, it's amazing. I know Kathy had a private session with you on flexibility for releasing trauma, take your power back. Before we talk about that, I wanted to have you give our listeners a brief background of all that you do and how you got started. You really practice what you preach. The flexibility you have is just astounding. You can bend in ways I never thought possible in places where I think I would break. You know? You bring some tremendous life-changing techniques to your clients. Tell us more.
Okay. When I was a child, I realized that now more and more, I had an innate knowing of how to get myself flexible. I had this neighbor and we would do gymnastics all day long on the grass, and we had a race to see who could get the splits first, a back bend or a straddle stretch, with your chest flat down. And I saw the steps of how to get there then. And so as I got older, I saw people practicing Kung Fu. I got asked to teach advanced Kung Fu students flexibility. So flexibility kind of found me. I was in the martial arts. Well, I got pulled into the martial arts when I got asked to show advanced Kung Fu students how to be more flexible to do all the tricks in their sets. And I got goosebumps when I saw them practicing, and I knew it would be my life path. So I went on the path of martial arts. But what was interesting was I could do the splits on the floor, but I couldn't kick straight up. That didn't translate. So within me was born a new system. I was guided, even though I was taking privates from the great Chinese masters, I was guided how to integrate the flexibility in every way possible to have a better range of motion and to recover faster and to do it without pain. So I've been doing this over 4 decades. And what has stayed with me, which I think really has helped me now kick higher than I ever have and jump higher, is I read a book by Deepak Chopra, Ageless Mind, Timeless Body, and he always said to have a meditation age where you sit in that age and ignore the years that are flying by. Because I decided not to believe in decline in any way, shape, or form. Because I worked so hard to get this level of physicality, and I wanted it to be an example to everybody else that we don't have to fall apart when we hit 50. Because I noticed people expect to fall apart. They expect their hair to turn gray and to get tight. And then later on, it's always talked about, I fell and broke my hip and I had to have hip surgery. And there's a deep fascination around that with older people. If you go to old folks' homes, they're fascinated with all their medications.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This fall that people break their hip is actually to two things. One is a tight calf muscle. The foot and the calf isn't stretched. And the other one is the posture, because people now lean forward and they get that rounded back. And so the center of gravity is pulled off and you're being like pulled forward. So with a tight calf and that being pulled off and not walking in alignment, you just need to just hit a rock or miss a step and you fall.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about opening your body through stretching, and that gets the energy flowing and that clears up the posture, and then you can walk straight. So that's some of it.
Okay. Yeah. I remember as a kid, my mom always said, sit up straight, posture. I kind of had that pounded into my head. And when you think about it, a lot of people, like you said, it's mindset. You hear people expecting, well, I'm not as young as I used to be. They're setting themselves up. And I like the idea of thinking, young, just put yourself in a particular age. So essentially, if we want to be 21 in our heads, that will influence us, won't it?
Well, yeah, when you meditate or sit and center yourself, there's an energy, we're all energy. And if we have a frequency of decline in an old person, our chi, our energy is not flowing. But if you go and you set a meditation age that feels right to you, maybe when you're at that very height of your being in every way, and you sit in that, what you do is feel the energy of what that felt like. And you carry that frequency. And the body is a map of the mind and what you believe.
I like that.
And also these days, like we mentioned, sitting is called the new smoking. And there's a epidemic.
I didn't hear that before, but I like it.
It's interesting. They're calling that now. Isn't that funny? And that posture is an epidemic. And I work with clients from age 7 to 90 plus. And what I'm seeing now is children with spines of an 80-year-old. They're rounded because everybody's on their phone all day, rounded, on their computer, video games. And then there's also something called tech neck.
I was going to say tech neck. I've heard of that.
Yeah, so they're all connected, but it's just when your posture goes, you can't breathe as deeply. You breathe in fight or flight mode up in your upper, above your chest there. Yeah. And that's kind of a nervous energy. We want to breathe all the way to the bottom of our stomach. And that brings homeostasis to the body and clears asthma and certain things like that. So it's all about the breath. So when you're rounded, the energy isn't flowing, and energy is what keeps us young. It's our life force. And that poor posture is linked to anxiety, poor sleep, a pot belly. So the more you can sit up straight, the more energy you will have, the more oxygen goes to your brain. There's so much to it.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
well, when you think about it, we weren't designed to sit like we do. And people, a good majority of them sit all the time. They have to for their work. They're in front of computers. Children, of course, are sitting in classrooms. And you're right. People are stuck with their devices. And we weren't designed to do all of this. And
yeah. We're all now, most of us are designed to get the dopamine hit from looking, scrolling online.
Oh man, yeah.
Other than the endorphin high of going outside and like when I was a kid, all I did was play outside.
Me too.
Now kids are, it's great, the wave of technology and how the next generation has hit the ground running and know all of that, but it needs to be in balance.
Yeah. Well, I've been amazed in my neighborhood how many kids are not outside. Kids are always making noise, and I love that sound. Where are they? They're inside. They're not outside running around.
They're in front of their games.
Yeah. And the last place I wanted to be as a kid was stuck inside, in
Me
Michigan.
too.
In Michigan, when it was winter, I didn't like winter so much. But summertime, I was out there running around constantly, going. I was the ever-ready rabbit, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's why there's so much anxiety and depression in kids up to adults, you know? There's more things than we've ever heard of, you know, with ADHD and, all these different things and all these different medications that people are starting on so young and staying on through life. Not to say that sometimes it isn't necessary, but it's also about getting back in the body and your natural flow of life.
Yeah.
And finding your passions and not comparing yourself to everyone on social media. And what my flexibility system does is put you back in your body.
I love it.
Back in control of your instrument.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I mean, we're stuck in these bodies. We need to take care of them and we need to listen to them. And the body needs to work with us too. Stacey, your insight is terrific. You have so many benefits with all of your training, like the one that you did with Kathy, the flexibility for releasing trauma, take your power back. That's on video, by the way. Kathy, what was that like? I mean, I've seen some of the snippets of the video. It was amazing what Stacey was able to do with you.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't really sure what I was going into. Like, I know Stacey, and I mean, looking at her videos and all that she does, I'm thinking, oh my God, my main goal really was to do the splits. It's been a lifelong dream of mine. I said, I got to be able to do the splits. So I've always, I've tried, and I do yoga, and sitting in equipment for 13 hours a day and only getting out once or twice a day to stretch. And literally just, when I say stretch, it's climbing down the stairs, going to the bathroom, climbing back in and having a nap, right? So when I do that for 14 days a week, it's really hard on my body. I mean, I'm 55. The older I get, the harder it is. I mean, the equipment's rough. So I had recently started, last year, I started, or actually when COVID hit, because we weren't allowed to the gym, I had started doing yoga in my room, and I'd never really done yoga before. So I found the difference in how I felt on a day-to-day basis from just doing a basic 20, 30-minute yoga stretch in the morning or in the evening, all depending on what shift I'm at, made a huge difference, not only in my posture, but in how I felt. And it helped my mental clarity. It helped my mental health. It just was beneficial all around. So after we had Stacey on our show the first time around, I happened to move to LA, and she's close to LA, or in Lake Arrowhead, which is on top of the mountain behind Los Angeles. So I'm like, hey, I've always wanted to go to that lake, so let's go check it out. So I made an appointment at her house, and man, like I just thought maybe that it'd be a simple stretching session, right? But no. What Stacey was able to accomplish with not only my body, but more with my mental approach to flexibility, went on a deep internal level. And what I mean by that is that as we were progressing, how long was I there, Stacey? An hour and a half?
Yeah, about an hour and a half.
Yeah. So it sounds like nothing, but it's something.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So from the time I walked in, just to doing the simple door stretches, to just everything basic, I started feeling a more relaxed inner state of mind, or inner peace, I guess I could say, that just enabled me to stretch a little bit further and reach deeper into myself as I'm working with her, to allow myself to open up. And when I say open up, it wasn't just allowing my muscles to stretch further, but it was allowing my inner core, the deep inner core of Kathy, just to open my wings a little bit more and extend. And we did the before and after pictures, and I still have it on my favorites list because I keep that picture as a reminder, like, oh my God, from the before trying to do the splits and to at the very end at the hour and a half. Well, son of a gun. I can't even begin to tell you how good that felt. And it's not like it was painful, or it's not like, it didn't require any extra. It just required a shift in my own personal focus. And I learned so much in that. And so since then, I've been using that approach, that internalization approach to every time I do yoga. And I feel phenomenal. Like my body has gotten leaner, I guess you could say. And I feel a lot more balanced, if that makes sense.
That's phenomenal. One wouldn't think that you'd accomplish all of that in an hour and a half.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this just, to butter Stacey up and, this really happened. If anybody watches the videos, like I'm sitting there talking with her.
So when I shoot courses, I want to make them real life. I don't rehearse with anybody. I have to just walk in cold. So whoever's doing the course will get the same experience, the time it takes to figure out something or put on the stretch strap or the posture strap. And it's all in real time. And it's not edited out or anything. So they're getting that same experience. And you watch with each course, if I have a guest, you watch them transform before your very eyes.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
And so with Kathy, I showed her, well, the reason it wasn't painful is my system, well, it's spiritually channeled. I get shown pictures of what the client needs, and I work on a very high energy frequency that produces an instantaneous healing. I almost override their consciousness, and I see them as completely well and the way exactly they want to be, which is their real self. And there's a certain order to do stretches in. People try to stretch and they go right to their hamstrings and they're like bouncing. They're like, oh, it'll never happen. And they give up. But you have to do a certain sequence. So by the time you get to the deeper areas, it's like a different experience. It's very, very easy once you open your back and your hips and your calf. And what happened during our session too is Kathy mentioned in the afterthoughts that she had done a lot of inner work, but this was the first time she felt it leave her body physically. So this flexibility wrings out the stored trauma in the body so it can finally leave, even if you've released it on different levels. And it always goes to our weakest area. And a lot of trauma is stored in the hips. So that's why a lot of people have a lot of lower back and hip pain, which then leads to knee pain and all kinds of other things. So the other thing is at 54, she was almost flat in her splits, which was so exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
In that course, she was wanting to train for handstands. So remember, we did a handstand segment.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We walked up the wall and we worked on that. And then to stretch your power back. I know she was doing boxing, so we added some short boxing drills.
Yep, that's right.
And how to breathe and time. It's not difficult. Anybody could do it, and you can do it empty hand and add weights and get an upper body workout. So you're kind of working everything, mind, body, spirit, your muscles, your core, and clearing your posture and releasing trauma. And you just feel much younger and lighter. And what's interesting with the client, and it happened with Kathy, when I'm working with somebody, I can feel all of a sudden in my body, I'll either feel like I'm going to cry or I'm going to laugh, and I feel waves, and I look down and the same thing is happening to the client. And they actually, get that euphoria or feel giddy, or sometimes tears come out because something that was buried so deep that they weren't ready to face yet can just lift out. So it's different with every person, but there's always something magical and transformative that happens.
It was magical. It was a transformation.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Dean Michael, the tax doctor here. I have one question for you. Do you want to stop worrying about the IRS? If the answer is yes, then look no further. I've been around for years. I've helped countless people across the country, and my success rate speaks for itself. So now you know where to find good, honest help with your tax problems. What are you waiting for? If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or haven't filed in years, call me now at 888-557-4020 or go to mytaxhelpmd.com for a free consultation and get your life back.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
If you're enjoying this informative episode of Women Road Warriors, I wanted to mention Kathy and I explore all kinds of topics that will power you on the road to success. We feature a lot of expert interviews. Plus, we feature celebrities and women who've been trailblazers. Please check out our podcast at womenroadwarriors.com and click on our episodes page. We're also available wherever you listen to podcasts, on all the major podcast channels like Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Amazon Music, Audible, you name it. Check us out and bookmark our podcast. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, and other sites. And tell others about us. We want to help as many women as possible. Stacey Nemour got her start teaching flexibility to Kung Fu students. She knew it was going to be her life path. She knows the absolute importance of a good posture and flexibility. When you have poor posture, you're set for a decline. Stacey studied the martial arts and learned the science of expanding range of motion. She's custom designed flexibility, injury prevention, and recovery programs for top Olympians, established actors, UFC champions, figure skaters, pro athletes, gymnasts, and Cirque Du Soleil performers. Stacey doesn't believe in decline in any shape or form. We don't have to fall apart as we get older. Flexibility is key to youth and vitality and to preventing falls. Many falls that result in hip fractures are due to a tight calf muscle, according to Stacey, and a poor posture with a rounded back. That throws your alignment off. It needs to be corrected, along with our mindset. We need to make it a youth mindset. Stacey helps people do this with her online masterclass series of flexibility makeovers. She's changing lives and giving people a new lease on life and a vitality they never thought that they would have. Her training also helps rid our bodies of trauma. She's been sharing some of her incredible wisdom with us. You know, Stacey, when you're talking about trauma, there have been books written that the body basically has a memory. It stores trauma. We may forget about things, but the body remembers. So what you're doing, you're not only providing the flexibility, but you're freeing people of maybe some of the things that have happened to them in their lives. And I find it interesting, you said the hips store a lot of trauma.
Yes, they do. And when we get upset, you'll notice it always goes to your weakest area, wherever you have your chronic pain. Mm-hmm. It gets amplified because it is stored in the body, and it is your body talking to you, needing attention, needing to breathe into that area, needing to send love into that area, and to bless it and release it and let it go.
So your courses, you work with all kinds of people. You've worked with celebrities, pro athletes, all of that.
And beginners like me, right?
Yeah.
A wide range. I love it because everybody needs it. I work with a lot of children that are on the path to becoming, Olympic figure skaters, gymnasts, prima ballerinas. And another thing that I've seen in the sports world is they're still in the cave ages when it comes to flexibility. It's an art and science within itself, and it's not ordinary stretching that needs to be done. There's a new way to do it, like I mentioned in the sequence, and learning how to use the breath properly. So there's a huge imbalance going on with all the athletes, especially in children. I've seen all of these patterns of misalignment, and they're already in pain. Mm-hmm. So they've raised the bar so high. We're always evolving in every art and every in every form of performance. We're always evolving. So you've noticed they've raised the bar higher and higher every year when you see America's Got Talent or the Olympics. They're always going somewhere new. But there has to be the flexibility going somewhere new to keep up with it. So what's happening with a lot of these poor girls that I work with are being forced into splits and, forced to take their leg this way or that way, without preparing the body to do it. And that drives me crazy because I want to know every single person, because it's forming their spines to twist and really come out of alignment, because they're trying to force their body to go to this new level to keep up, so they'll get the next audition or be in the show or get accepted and stay with their troupe. So I work to clear that up and show them how easy it is, and put them in touch with their instrument too, so they have better control and perform with precision and not get hurt. So that's one aspect of my business with the athletes, is bringing that in. And I've saved so many people that were about to quit their sport of any age because they thought it was over because of the pain.
This is marvelous. Also, I would think there's some people I know who were in gymnastics when they were young, and now they have all kinds of issues, probably because they didn't have your kind of training, and essentially what they were doing and forcing their body to do at a young age created problems, didn't it?
Oh, yes. And then when you stop moving, it all gets tighter and tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing too, is when you get injured or you're in pain and you just stop moving, everything starts to atrophy. And you want to keep the circulation and the energy going. So it's always good to try to train around injuries and look at it as an opportunity to come back stronger. There's always an opportunity in every injury. Maybe it's to seek the right modality to clear what's going on underneath the injury as well. But the body temple can heal anything with the right mindset and treatment. None of this has to be a life sentence. I also worked with people who've had cancer and serious diseases too. And miraculous things have happened. People coming into hardly able to walk because of burning pains radiating down the legs. And they're almost out dancing that night. And most of them have told me they've tried every healing modality, and then they see me and it just clears. And I really believe it's the frequency that I work on, the energy of instantaneous healing, and being guided to wring that out of their body. And then sometimes I'm guided to be very esoteric and wild. This is not so woo-woo anymore. But I'm also guided with certain people. We have the dancers and Olympians, and that's one thing. But the people that have really are messed up and have a lot of trauma, had divorce, had deaths, had life stuff happen in their childhood, I literally do spiritual surgeries where I cut the trauma cord from them to the trauma and trauma to them. Or if somebody has an abusive ex-husband after them and they're looking over their shoulder, I cut the energetic ties and on both sides, and the person feels a great relief. And what's interesting is you cannot cut unconditional love. That's really the only thing that's real. That's what we are. But you can cut away cords and connections to people. We can all do it ourselves when we meditate. So you all know out there, you can just visualize it, but you can cut cords that bind you to people or situations. And it's not only good for you, but for the other person.
Sometimes I did in treatment something similar to that. And they called it was just a one-time session that a pastor had come in the very first day I'm in treatment in 2009. And he called it soul ties. And
very good.
Yeah. And what he had us do, he prayed over these random stones, and you had to pick a stone that you felt was attached to whatever your biggest pain was. And so I picked 5 big stones because I had 5 major traumas. And so with that, he gave us a cloth, and then you had to tie each stone in the cloth with some simple thread, right? And so you had to lock that sucker in there. So I made sure I tied like 13, 14 knots. I said, this sucker's never coming out, right? So my little piece of cloth, and then we had to write words of how we wanted to heal those pains. So here's the interesting thing. So in order to cut that cord, cut that tie, cut that pain from us, he had us do something different. He had us put put that cloth with all our individual pains underneath our pillow and sleep on it. And he said, when you're ready, because now you're in recovery, and when you're ready to address that particular problem, he says, I can guarantee you that stone will have untied itself. And I thought that was the biggest crock of baloney ever. Yeah, right. So I did it anyway, because I'm curious. And so every morning I'm making my bed and I'm looking at, yeah, no, that's still under my pillow. It's all good. Well, as I progress in my therapy, when I was feeling ready to, like, unconsciously thinking, okay, well, I'm looking at this and this, I kid you not, Stacey and Shelley, that one morning I go to make my bed and that there's a stone that was free. It had untied itself from my 13 knots. 13
Wow.
knots. And it was the one addressing the abandonment from my father. That was the first one I looked at. And I'm like, oh my God. But it's interesting because what it did, it gave me permission to say, well, you know what? It's ready to look at. I could do this. So it was a mental thing, right? How it came undone, I have no idea, but I addressed it and I was able to cut that tie. It liberated me. So so my program was a year. So every time as I'm going along, another rock would come undone and another one until all 5 of my stones had undone themselves by themselves without me taking or helping them along. True story.
That's amazing.
Right?
Wow.
And so the ties were cut. The bond, like the attachment to my own pain was able to be released. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah, the addiction to the pain that's like we normalize that state of being. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is, well, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear, and there's no one way to do anything. That person, that blessing that showed up in your life was exactly perfect for you at that time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In the exact way you needed it at that time. And when you have experiences like that, where you can't unsee the evidence of the result or the miracle, it changes you and opens you up to all the other unlimited possibilities and all the miracles available to us. So it is said a miracle is something that's already true on the spiritual plane that we've allowed to manifest on the physical plane.
I love it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense to me. 100%.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, Stacey, what you're doing with clients not only improves their physical health, but their mental health. And when you think about it, that's a symbiosis. You really have to have both, don't you?
Yeah, that's why they say mind, body, spirit.
Yeah.
We're in a time now where the frequencies of the earth are raising up, and there's a big awakening going on the planet now. And it's time for all of us to return to love and come from the higher heart space within ourselves, within the community, with humanity, and reverence for all things that have life. But that starts with the self, because everything in life is a mirror of the self and different aspects of the self. And we're all one and we're all connected. So what I love to do is give people back to themselves who they really are and who they really wanted to be, and help people get to where they want to go very quickly. And I cut years of frustration and delays out of their journey. So people, like I've mentioned, who've tried every modality, come to me and all of a sudden they're crying, and it just happens very quickly. So when the person is ready, they'll find me. If they're ready to shift quickly and let this all go, it doesn't need to be years and years and years and years. If you've done the work and you're really ready to make the shift. So what's most astounding about my work, if you look at my before and afters on my flexibility private session page, is it's astounding that I even had people about 80 years old, men that could not touch their toes when they were a kid, and they touched their toes in one session with me.
Wow.
Like people would call that impossible. But again, I always say miracles is my natural state of being and a means of saving time. So I like to get get to the root of everything with every person on every level. And so I think people associate stretching just, doing some stretches and stuff. But this flexibility training is a whole new art and science that addresses everything on every level. And I tailor it to whatever the need is. And also just a lot of us are filled with so much fear and anxiety these days. So it's important to heal that, because you can be flexible and you can be healthy, but you also want to have a peaceful state of mind so you can enjoy each day fully and feel your own light.
I would think your training would be absolutely marvelous for someone who has pain, has to be on medications. This would free them. I mean, you're emancipating people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go to a doctor, they're always going to suggest surgery or medications because it's all about, the pharmaceuticals wants you to get hooked and don't want you to ever get cured. And it's just the beginning of the end when you get buried in all of that and you just start to feel so helpless. So there's a whole other way to do it. Where you can get off all that stuff and take your mind back and your body back and your health back, and also be able to get back in touch with our inner knowing, with our intuition, and back within our passion. We all need to get in touch with our purpose and our reason for being here, and let our gifts and our light shine.
And we lose that as we go through life, don't we? A lot of people lose that purpose.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, disappointment after disappointment brings us down.
Yep.
And yes, sometimes we do go through a dark night of the soul. Sometimes we've risen so high spiritually that there's still stuff in our subconscious that needs to go back and be cleared, and we have the energy to do it then, because we need to have a new frequency to prepare us for where we're going to go beyond where we've ever gone before. And it does not matter what your age is, that you can rebirth yourself and find your passion again and go to new heights. It's never over unless you say it's over. And if you get into the flexibility training the right way, you can do your beloved passions, golfing, gardening, running, much longer, usually until you leave the planet. But flexibility is the highest starting point, because then you can do all the positions in yoga easily, or whatever it is that you want, how you want to express yourself physically. But it's funny because you'll see now everybody's just going for Botox.
Yeah.
It's just like this. I don't judge any of it. I do go for like laser IPL and infrared skin tightening, to be the best I could be, but I want my skin to earn it, and not have anything unnatural put in there. Where, everyone kind of starts to look weird and all the same with the
oh man, well, their faces don't move.
Yeah, your face. You gotta let your face. I mean, you can't see your face, but what I am saying is how you walk, stand, talk, and carry yourself is what is youthful. So if you have good posture, which is the posture of confidence and not of a victim, your energy's flowing and you're aligned with who you truly are, you literally glow. And you just take back, the years just fall away when you are able to be flexible and pick up something easily, reach to a top shelf, and walk in a youthful way with a spring in your step. Botox is, all these other new things that we have, there's another way to do it where you can actually feel youthful from head to toe. There's nothing wrong with Botox, but I'm just saying we're all so obsessed with staying young.
Oh, yes. Especially in the United States and more in North America.
But you could have this Botox face, but be kind of hunched over and holding your fucking, so there's so much more available now in that way to do that.
Yesterday I was volunteering at the at the seminar that I attended all weekend, my spiritual seminar that I go to every year with Eckankar. And I was a volunteer at the tent. So we had thousands of people coming in, and I'm helping with the luggage. And I'm just kind of, because people drop their luggage before they go to the airport. There's a fellow who was watching me go along, and me, bubbly personality, and I got light to spare and energy and love and laughter, and it's just coming oozing out of me. This man from another country, he comes up to me, he says, I've been watching you, and he says, I have to say, you have the most beautiful power I have ever seen. I'm like, huh? He says, you have beautiful power. And I've never been told that before. And I thought that was really interesting. I'm like,
now that you've heard that,
thank you.
More and more. Yeah, that's an example of what is being mirrored back to you, because a lot of people, they'll tell you glow, because you do, because you're connected to your soul's purpose and your love for yourself and everything and everyone around you, and it radiates out, and then people start to really gravitate to that, and they want to know you. That's the highest thing we can do, is to go to be who we were born to be, with our soul's purpose, and be filled with our own light and our love, and think independently of circumstances, of what's going on in the world. You want to help the world, raise yourself up. And it has this ripple effect that goes out into the ethers, and others pick that up and start to wake up too.
Absolutely.
And that's, and just by doing that and being a living example of what's possible, changes everything as it goes out into the world.
Yes, it does. It's all a ripple.
Yeah. And yes, there's a lot of chaos going on in the world, but we don't have to go and join that. We can opt out and choose to be at our highest frequency, our highest energy of love, and to express it wherever we go, and be a blessing wherever we go, and leave everything in better shape than when we found it.
I love that.
And I love that saying, Wayne Dyer used to say, you can't get sad enough, sick enough, or poor enough to help another person.
Amen to that.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Dean Michael, the tax doctor here. I have one question for you. Do you want to stop worrying about the IRS? If the answer is yes, then look no further. I've been around for years. I've helped countless people across the country, and my success rate speaks for itself. So now you know where to find good, honest help with your tax problems. What are you waiting for? If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or haven't filed in years, call me now at 888-557-4020 or go to mytaxhelpmd.com for a free consultation and get your life back.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
Stacey Nemour's flexibility program puts us back in our bodies. When you're in pain, everything starts to atrophy. When you train for a sport, you need to train around injury. Stacey says there's always an opportunity around every injury. The body temple can heal anything with the right treatment. Much of this comes with flexibility. That's where Stacey comes in. She heals people. She helps people release trauma, including emotional trauma that keep us stopped in our tracks. Stacey improves the mind, body, and spirit. She has custom-designed flexibility training, injury prevention, and recovery programs for top Olympians, established actors, UFC champions, figure skaters, pro athletes, gymnasts, and Cirque Du Soleil performers. Stacey doesn't believe in decline in any shape or form. We don't have to fall apart as we get older. She tailors programs for people of all ages, even in their 80s, to increase their flexibility and take their mind, body, and health back. This is so liberating and contrary to popular belief about what happens as we get older. Stacey, You do training with people online. Could you kind of walk us through some of the things that you do with people? Because I think that you're going to be a major godsend for people.
Yes. So wherever you are in the world, I love you. I got your back. I have clients in Ireland and Australia and almost every country. Many people travel from all over the world to work with me in person and do an intensive. But for those who can't do it, I do Skype and Zoom sessions. I also sell Stacey Posture Strap. I custom designed, as we've talked so much about posture. It instantly opens your heart and chest, takes pressure off the neck. You put on the posture strap, Kathy.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I have it at work. You bet.
It really it protects your shoulder. So many people have frozen shoulder, rotator cuff stuff. So I have flexibility products and a stretch strap I custom designed to help you go further than you could go on your own. So it's like I'm there spotting you. So yes, I do the privates, I do in person. And then I also, with the privates, you get all the online courses so you can log in anytime and they don't expire, or you can do the courses on your own and just buy the courses and the posture and stretch strap and log in from anywhere, anytime. So the thing is you can stretch anytime, anywhere. And I set it up so you can use wall space and create your own little flexibility gym with just a few things.
Yeah.
And some space to support you. So you don't need, a lot of equipment. You could do it in a hotel room, wherever you are. And for those who need it, I address whatever their special needs are. If they also need energy work or any spiritual surgeries or anything, that's included. But it's not a one size fits all. Everyone has a completely different system and, at different areas where they have a resistance of letting the light in and the good in. So it's all very customized.
I like that. It's tailor-made rather than when you go to a doctor, they're working with baselines and you're being compared with everybody else.
Or reading off a script.
Yeah.
So, yes.
What are some of the comments people have made that have come to you for whatever their reasons? Maybe pain management, they want additional flexibility so that they don't fall. I mean, that is a huge thing. And a lot of people end up in nursing homes just because they fell.
Yes. I have people too one man walked in, he was like the Tower of Pisa. And more pictures on my website of it. Like he tried to touch his toes and one arm was way out front, other arm was it was all twisted. And in one session that got evened out and he touched his toes. He was 78.
Wow.
People are usually say, wow, they're in shock. They feel euphoric and just everyone's usually so grateful and are in shock because they always gone further than they ever thought they could even go. It goes beyond what you thought you could ever do. That's what happens. It always works with every client. And because it seems who shows up to me is ready. Ready to receive that. It's their soul, it's their soul's calling and they found me at the right time. And they, a lot of them are just really giddy. A lot of people cry because they're so happy. And I'm working with like a 12-year-old dancer and online, and she's so cute because they start dancing now, like at 2. And in one session, got all her splits, her back bend, everything. And she goes, I've been wanting this since I was 2 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's just, and then also another big thing is children need it. All you sports parents out there, they really need it, boys and girls, for during growth spurts because their body hasn't caught up to all the changes and they lose all their flexibility and balance and coordination.
Gosh, I remember that. I grew 6.5 inches in 1 year when I was 16.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And you don't realize you're longer. And so,
and you feel so awkward. So they really, really need help. That's a whole other subject too about the sports world and sports parents and pushing their kids. There's a lot of abuse that goes on with the coaches, but if they think that coach or teacher is the very best in the world, they put up with it a lot. A good coach is one that also supports the child's well-being and makes them feel safe.
Stacey, I think that your techniques at an early age could really set the stage for healthy people that are not in pain in their lifetime. I mean, it just makes so much sense.
I'm so glad that you said that, because that's exactly what I'm doing, is putting them in touch with their instrument. And it's a lifelong skill.
Yeah.
Whether they stay with their sport or dance or not, they're in their body. They can breathe through things. They know how to breathe to get a release through the body, because there's a specific way of breathing. And I'll leave you with this is, what I have my clients do is breathe in through their nose all the way to the bottom of their spine, their sacrum at the very bottom. And if you're an adult, before you go, this is right before you stretch, you hold your breath for a few beats. The longer, the better. And then you exhale and go into the stretch. The body completely lets go. But you also, when you breathe into your low back, I'm giving you the biggest free tip ever. So listen carefully. You mentally tell your back to let go, and your whole body that it's okay to let go. And then you exhale and you go into the stretch. And you never force it, push it, or bounce. That's outdated. If it feels like, ooh, this is too much, you come right up out of it. And guess what? Your body processes what you just did. And then you go back into it and it's able to go further. And if you're doing one side and there's another side, you go to the other side. And then you come back to the body because it's new. It hasn't done it, like if you're stretching in a new way. So, and the magic happens on the repeat, but we give up right away, and learn to do it in the right sequence. That will make stretching shouldn't be painful. Rather, what my clients say it's a deep discovery channel day of their body. So we're going to places that have been asleep, laying dormant, and waking up the parts of ourselves and that haven't been utilized. So when you go to work out, you feel thinner, longer, and you have a better range of motion. You burn more calories, and you do everything. And you also just feel so much lighter.
That's wonderful. Stacey, where do people reach out to you?
Oh, okay. My website is staceynemour.com. So I'm sure you'll have a link. That's to find out about my privates. You can email me for a free consultation about which course or which program, and I'll tune in on that. Or if you want to go straight to the courses, it's flexibilitymakeover.com, and that's where the courses is. There's one with our wonderful bright light Kathy.
Yeah, Kathy.
Radiant superstar Kathy. So amazing. Called Flexibility for Releasing Trauma, Take Your Power Back. And that I explained, we go through all the stretching, and that one has a handstand training, splits training, a little bit of boxing. And then I finish at the end with a meditation for exactly how to call your power back. So there's that too. And I'm also on all the social media and Instagram. So I would love to connect with each and every one of you, wherever you are. I'm sending out a lighthouse that I'm here. And the prayer is this reaches anybody who needs to hear it. And, and so much love to you both. You guys are such superstars. And congratulations on this trajectory that this show is.
Thank you. Yes, we just won. We have several awards now. We're really excited. The most recent one, People's Choice Podcast Award. So yes, we're super excited.
About energy. The energy of you too is what's bringing in this, amazing momentum. It's just going to go up, 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 up.
That's what we're hoping. Yes, we want to help more people. And Stacey, you are just a bright light on the world. Yep. Yes. And people spell your name StaceyNemour.
That's correct. Exactly correct.
Okay. So people can reach out to staceynemour.com. And what is the other one again? The other website?
Flexibilitymakeover.com.
That's flexibilitymakeover.com. Very cool. And there they can find out how you can help them. Terrific. You're going to help people in so many different ways. And I love the fact that online, everyone has access to your brilliance.
Yeah, that's what's so beautiful about this day and age, especially if you live in the most remote area where you don't have any kind of access to anything, that you're really interested in. We can connect instantly.
Awesome.
This has been inspiring, and I've been sitting up much straighter while I was talking to you.
Yes. Sit up straight. Put on that posture strap.
Thank you so much, Stacey.
Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you very, very much. I love you both so much.
Love you too. This is terrific.
Oh, 100%. Love you back.
We hope you've enjoyed this latest episode. And if you want to hear more episodes of Women Road Warriors or learn more about our show, be sure to check out womenroadwarriors.com. And please follow us on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. On our website, we also have a selection of podcasts just for women. There are a series of podcasts from different podcasters. So if you're in the mood for women's podcasts, just click the Power Network tab on womenroadwarriors.com. You'll have a variety of shows to listen to anytime you want to. Podcasts made for women. Women Road Warriors is on all the major podcast channels like Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, YouTube, and others. Check us out. And please follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you want to be a guest on the show or have a topic or feedback, email us at sjohnson@womenroadwarriors.com.